Forests are beautiful during the day, but when night falls, they change. Silence replaces birdsong. Shadows move differently. And sometimes, if you're alone, they whisper. Alex was an experienced hiker. He had explored trails across the country, but the Whispering Pines Trail was new to him. Tucked deep into the Pacific Northwest, this particular forest was said to be untouched, quiet, and serene. That's exactly what drew him in. He set out early, excited by the fog curling around the trees and the crisp chill in the air. Everything felt perfect until he realized how quiet it was. No birds, no rustling leaves, just silence. At first it felt peaceful, then it started to feel wrong. By early evening, he found a small clearing and set up camp. As he sat by the fire, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He kept glancing behind him, into the thick woods, but saw nothing, just trees swaying in the breeze. Then came the whispers. They started faint, soft, unintelligible, like someone murmuring. In another room, he froze, straining his ears. They faded. He convinced himself it was just the wind. Maybe the trees creaked, maybe he was just tired. But later, as he lay in his tent, the whispers came back, clearer this time. His name, Alex. He sat up, heart pounding. He shone his flashlight outside, but saw nothing. The whispering circled the tent, moving slowly, deliberate. He grabbed his knife, stepped outside, and stood in the cold, searching. Nothing, just trees. Then something moved, a figure, a shadow. He turned, and it was gone. Silence again. That night, he barely slept. In the morning, he considered turning back, but something compelled him to keep going. He hiked deeper. Hours passed. The forest grew darker, denser. The trail seemed unfamiliar, like it was shifting. Trees he thought he'd seen before appeared again. He wasn't sure anymore if he was walking in circles. And then he found the cabin. It stood among thick trees, worn and forgotten. The wood was gray with age. The windows were shattered. The door was slightly open. He should have walked away, but something drew him in. Inside, it was cold. The air smelled of rotting wood and old dust. In the corner was a broken table with a torn journal on top. He flipped through it. The last entries were frantic, paranoid. Someone had lived here once, and they were hearing the whispers too. The final entry read, "They watch from the trees. Don't listen. Don't follow." Alex backed away from the table, heart thudding. Then the door slammed shut behind him, and the whispering exploded. It came from the walls, from the floorboards, from inside his head. He screamed, trying to push the door open, but it wouldn't budge. Shadows spilled across the floor, twisting, growing longer. They weren't his. They were wrong. One of them moved, closer, then another, and another. He shut his eyes, covering his ears, whispering to himself, begging them to stop. When he opened his eyes, it was morning. The door stood open. The shadows were gone. The whispering had stopped. He ran. He didn't stop to pack. He didn't check his compass. He just ran until the forest began to thin and the sun reached through the trees again. When he reached his car, he didn't speak, not even when he got home. He tried to forget it, but every night as he lay in bed, just before falling asleep, he heard his name, faint, distant, Alex, and he knew the forest hadn't let him go. It was still whispering.